Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, and I am joined for the third time, I think, this summer, if you want to count our season reflection part 1 and 2 episodes a couple weeks back, joined by Aram in Toronto. Welcome back, Aram.
Hello. The third post-championship appearance, I guess. So we'll count it from that AC after championship.
How's your summer been so far?
It's been good. It's been good to watch these summer league games after 2 months of games that just feel like life and death. Obviously, we know they're not. It's nice to watch really low stakes basketball. California Classic was pretty bad. That was pretty brutal to watch. But these Vegas summer league games, there's a different vibe to them. So it's been kind of nice to watch these games.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it's like become this weird place to be. Do you remember when summer league games used to be played in, tiny looking gyms? It looked like they were being played at high school gyms. I know they're not, but now they're just fully attended. The NBA's done a crazy job of making it like a destination, right? And then you get all the big name players, you get coaches. The whole Warriors coaching staff looks like it's sitting on the sideline. I don't know if Kerr's there tonight, but like Sunday, they were just sitting there watching Wiseman and Kuminga and Moody, etc. And then you have random celebrities who I don't really know.
Yeah, definitely like the summer league seemed to be more like the California Classic, that vibe, and that kind of quality. But it seems like, people are more here to show out more, and you see the focus and the competitiveness. It's just another level. So it's cool to watch it. Would you ever go watch this?
Yeah. Vu Bang, he's on this show a lot every now and then. He actually was out there. He went to, I think, the first Vegas games, the full slate, which on last Friday, and he had wanted me to go. He asked if I could make it, and I couldn't. I just had, other obligations back home here, so I couldn't, but I most definitely would have. And I wish I could have seen that first Wiseman game. Actually, my friend Steve from NFS, he was there. He texted me, and he was at the Wiseman game, and I was like, "What are you doing there?" So his other friend had suggested they go, but because this might be the greatest Warriors summer league team ever assembled.
This would have been the year to go. Yeah, you texted me the starting lineup for Tuesday night's game, and it was Moody, Kuminga, Wiseman, Kendari, Weatherspoon, and Mac McClung. So that's a solid late season tanking squad.
That's an awesome garbage team.
Totally. Yeah. We are recording this on Tuesday night. That starting lineup didn't do too well, but the prospect of it was still exciting at the time.
Yeah, the game is actually still going on. I have it here in the background. The Warriors are down by 11 with 4:50, at least on my TV, and it's been sloppy. The first half was sloppy. It was like so less exciting than the first game, and but it's fine. My whole thing is like, I just want these guys down. It's an 8-point deficit now. Now I'm doing play-by-play.
We're turning into this live stream but recorded.
But all I want is for the guys to come out of this healthy, especially Wiseman. That's all I want. There's a couple times where he fell to the ground, or one time where he looked like he limped, but he was just actually kind of hopping over somebody. So it's like when Klay would fall down early in the regular season, and it's like, no, Klay fell down in his 2 first games back, like random, just fell down, like he tripped on somebody. And I was like, oh my God, no. So, that's all I want from this. And it's good to see them just get reps and whatnot. And they all have a lot of stuff to work on, but this game is just, it's sloppy. It's gross, but I enjoy them giving it a go.
Yeah. You have to kind of like fight the urge to read too much into it, because you realize, it is summer league. Kuminga, just came back from visiting his home, so he's
Hmm.
rusty, and James Wiseman hadn't played in however many months,
15
that kind of thing.
months.
So yeah,
Well, if
it's
you count
funny
the G
because like
League, yeah.
it's as if they don't count the G League. It's
I
like
know.
that was
I
a little
do.
odd. I mean, he looks way different in these games. Than he looks so much more spry and confident. Like he
Yeah.
looked okay in those G League games, but not great. Like there's just like a different kind of mood to, or different vibe to his game right now. And I mean, if we are to take some things away from this, it's like it the kind of encouraging stuff would seem to be that there were things that he was doing in that first game that he didn't know how to do in his rookie season. Like
Hmm.
like there was that one play with the verticality, which I'm sure you talked about on the other edition. But and then in this game, he's shown more willingness to mix it up and getting rebounds and those kind of things, which is something that he identified after that. Well, everybody identified after that first
Right.
game, but so it's nice to see. And again, yeah, let's just have health for this guy. And you can see that he does affect the game for sure. Like he's
Oh, yeah.
huge. I don't know. I think once he gets better at positioning, like he just needs to play more and get a
Hmm.
better feel of the personnel that he's playing. And I'm sure with these summer league rosters, it's not like you're doing a huge scouting report ahead of the game, but just getting a sense of how to play and how to affect people's shots without even having to go for the block all the time.
Yeah.
So that's all encouraging, and it's kind of like your Wiggins smile. It's nice to see the Wiseman smile too.
Definitely, with Wiseman, I mean, I did talk about this in the previous episode, but even in this second summer league game that he's played, you can see just a little bit more comfort. Like again, everybody's a little bit off, looks a little sloppier. The Warriors look a step slow, although they're down by 7 with Kuminga at the line now. um, but like Wiseman, he's done a bunch of good little things, like you said, the verticality, and he's going for rebounds a little bit more now, but sometimes he's getting boxed out. And there are some guys on the Celtics who are maybe not as tall as him right now in this game, but they look a little thicker,
Yeah, definitely wider. Yeah.
yeah, and maybe not, like, they may not be able to like curl as much, but like just in the body frame and everything. And I also noticed that Wiseman, he's good at like catching a ball and going straight up. Because he's so tall, but still a lot of guys will catch it and bring it down, and that's a no-no, but he catches it up high and he just goes straight up. So I can appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, health is ultimately all that you want from this. And Moody's having an off game. It's fine. It's fine. These are just reps, and it's sloppy. And when I think back to those G League games that Wiseman played in, it's like it's tough when you're playing with honestly far lesser talent and you are a center, right? You
Yeah.
don't start off with the ball in your hands, and you're relying on these dudes who are trying to, put numbers up, make a name for themselves. And they also know that people are watching because of Wiseman. So they're like, "Oh, it's my time."
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me jack up some shots here. So it's definitely a different feel, but I'm encouraged. I'm 100% encouraged, and I'm happy as hell that he's just out there. I mean, like this is his second game. He made it 2 games in the G League, so I'll be even happier if he plays in the third game. I'm kind of not sure if I want them to make it to the summer league championship game, because then I just the reps are good, but I'm like, this is like, can we just
Gotta go get that trophy, that ring, right?
what's that ring made out of? I mean, it can't be
I,
made out of anything too valuable, right?
it looks like the kind you get at like a party shop.
I mean, is it the replica ring that's made out of like shiny plastic?
Maybe it's a junior ring designers who are cutting their teeth and they're cutting their stones. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to watch these guys, try aspects of their game. They're clearly doing things that are not going to be their role. And, it's just kind of like what you're saying about, how frustrating it is to play. It's not unlike when you see players, especially big men in college, and and their numbers are much better in the pros, right? There's just more space, there's better
Yeah.
passing, better entry passes, those kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, the gravity of Steph, Clay, Jordan Poole, any of those guys is far better than the gravity of Mac McClung, Quinones. You know what I mean? As much as I appreciate those young guys, and the lead is now 6.
Yeah, we got a
But
game here.
I do appreciate Kuminga in this game and the previous game, like kind of trying to will them back to a win. It's like,
Yeah.
people, I've seen people on Twitter and comment and stuff about how, he needs to, he's pressing too much in summer league and he needs to pass the ball more. He's becoming a ball hog, but it's like, who cares? Like, the more he has the ball in his hands, the better it is than if you actually win the game. And like, like that kind of stuff.
He's the one that I think when he was a kid, wouldn't he go to like the internet cafe or whatever and watch like Kobe Bryant highlights? I mean, this
Yeah.
is his Kobe moment, right? Just like, I'm gonna shoot as much as possible, Mamba mentality or whatever, right? So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's all good. It's all good. It's fun to watch these guys. I mean, we were both super hyped for this game, and I guess we got a game here, and it's turning out okay. But yeah, we're just kind of watching the last minute or so.
Anyway, so you wanted to talk about these 3 young guys in particular, but not just about this game. You want
Yeah.
to talk about Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and James Wiseman. And can I just say, like, it's amazing to talk about them as guys who are like playing, because Wiseman's been hurt for so long. He's just a hypothetical,
Yeah.
but now he's actually out there. And you had a thought about these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like we did a little conversation last summer or before the season. We talked about who was going to be the best player and most important in 2 years, 4 years. I just specifically this trio. I mean, let's shorten that timeline. Like who do you think is going to be most impactful of these 3 next season? Just next season, and then who's going to be the most impactful in, let's say, 3 seasons?
Man, that's actually pretty tough. It's tough to say next season, this coming season, because there's so many holes from
Yeah,
the free
yeah.
agents who've left, right?
And we don't know how they're going to fill that out with some minimum vets.
Exactly, because if they pick up anyone like another veteran wing, if there is one out there, or if they pick up if Pat Beverly gets cut loose and then all of a sudden he would sign for the minimum to ring chase with the Warriors, and that's another thing. But you know, because if you have Otto Porter Jr., you need his minutes to be filled, and then you have Moody and you have Kuminga, right? Moody can play 3 and 2. Kuminga plays a little bit more 3 and 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on who's looking better during the season, right? Because Kuminga, they said it last year, we talked about it, and even now, he looks like he has the higher ceiling, right? Uh, Moody looks more game ready, so I think it's kind of a tough call to make so early when the roster isn't complete. I think Kuminga and Moody can both play defense in different ways, right? Kuminga has the foot speed, but Moody has the crazy long arms and a little bit more technique, perhaps.
Yeah.
Moody has a better shot. Kuminga in the Warriors' flowing offense, he's the guy that like gets the screen, cuts to the basket, whereas Moody's the guy in the corner who will hit the 3. And then if you talk about Wiseman, if he's up to speed, whoo boy, like can you just imagining the stuff that we saw from him his rookie year, that one Spurs game where he had like a ton of dunks, right? Where they just said, we're going to throw it up to him. This is how we're going to use him, you know? And now that the team's actually, I mean, they won a title, right? So they're going to be one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team. Adding that in there with all these other guys, it's going to be kind of insane. But that being said, I think they'll all have some kind of impact. But
you got to choose one.
Yeah, I'll go with Kuminga.
Okay.
I'll go with Kuminga. You know, I'll go with Kuminga. Largely because I think his athleticism and his ability to do a little bit what Moody does, and above the rim, a little bit what Wiseman does. I think he'll have an impact, especially against more athletic players in general. What about
Yeah.
you?
Oh, he when he's in the lineup, it adds so much of that athleticism because they lack it so much. And Wiseman's going to do that. I mean, in terms of impactful for next season, I just think Wiseman's going to be so raw. I think he'll get regular minutes, but it's going to be tough. And I think there will be games where he gets 6 dunks or whatever, he'll score an easy 20 or something like that. And then there'll be some games where he gets 4 fouls in 8 minutes or something like that. So I don't think he's going to be really inconsistent, but I would go with Moody just because more than anything, I think they trust him defensively, and that's their bottom line. At the end of the day, they will always go for defense, and he fits well enough with all their other pieces, size wise. He can rebound a little bit, and they like to play small anyway, so. I think his defense is rebounding his 3-and-D, but I just say that I think that's just for this coming season. I think long term, I think it's going to be Kuminga. If I was writing you the other night, I'm like, man, he is a beast. If only he can harness it. And I think long term for his career, it's going to be better that he's on this team and he's kind of being made to play the right way and to play winning basketball and being challenged to do so. But I'm sure it is going to be frustrating for him to he'd want to run loose. Like he wants to be, he'd like to be Jalen Green, like that usage level, right? Who wouldn't be, who wouldn't want to be that? So I think that's going to be the challenge for him. But I think, and then I think Wiseman will chip in here and there, and but I think it's just gonna be harder for a big man, as talented as he is. But I'm eager to see him learning the game. I mean that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to Wiseman in those honestly garbage minutes. I know, and I hope a healthy Wiseman gets regular rotation minutes. I can't see why not. Actually, I can see why not. Fouls out, defensive effort, not rebounding, stuff like that, taking bad shots. But they want to get him minutes. But I'm going to look forward to seeing him out there and just seeing the stuff that he could do, because it's funny during the finals when we remember when people talked about him pre-draft, after the draft, his first several games, right? There was the Giannis comp, the David Robinson comp, the Anthony Davis comp. He talked about how Kevin Garnett was one of his idols, and then it became like DeAndre Ayton. He could be like DeAndre Ayton. This is after he got hurt, and that's the development. Yeah. And then by the time it got to the finals, it was he can be like Robert Williams, you know what I mean? And Robert Williams is great. I would love to have him on the team, or at least just not on the Celtics. But, just seeing how, because he was out for so long, the gradations of expectations were lowered and lowered and lowered, which, it's what have you done for me lately? It's what you see some guy, you watch him in the G League, and it's whatever. But I would like to see him kind of climb that ladder a little bit more, and it'll be interesting, because that rookie season, it was oh yeah, I'll have the ball in my hands and shoot threes. Yeah. I mean, that's not going to happen until garbage time, if that.
it's kind of unfair that he has been scrutinized so much. It's like if you're not healthy and you're not playing, the assessment of you shouldn't get worse and worse and worse because you're literally not playing. Like, I mean, sure,
Mhm.
you know, if you were healthy, then you would be getting better, presumably, right? And so you're missing out on that. But it's like the dude is 21. Like, yeah, he may not be an all NBA player or even an all-star, but that's okay. Like, he can still be a really good player. And yeah, I think we just need to not worry about it.
The action never ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer. With tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports, you can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the season like never before. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right, make your first bet up to $1,000, and if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down on all the major actions for baseball, golf, MMA, and more. Plus, with same-game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, and props, your betting options feel endless. I'm looking forward to all those Giants Dodgers matchups because it's just one of the best rivalries in sports. So we'll see what the odds are for those. Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Two things in terms of Wiseman that he needs, or well, one thing that he definitely needs, and I'm looking forward to seeing is how is he going to play with Poole, and basically people who can get him the ball in the right spots. You can see both in that G League game and these summer league games, like he's not getting it in spots. And sure, he doesn't have his areas yet. You know, he hasn't played enough to be like, okay, that's his spot. Get him the ball in that spot. Like, doesn't have that yet. But just somebody who is a threat in a pick and roll situation. That's why I brought up Jordan Poole. It's like, you know, you could see Kuminga trying to get him the ball and some of these other players, but they just don't. They don't have it, right? Like they're not enough of a threat off the bounce or whatever. But somebody like Poole would be. So that's going to be really interesting. The other thing is like, I mean, again, don't jump to too many conclusions after two summer league games, but how is Kuminga and Wiseman going to be able to play together? And maybe they won't this coming season, like maybe not that much, like their minutes may be staggered. I don't think that they'll go with a whole like second unit full of babies, you know.
Sure.
They're going to mix in the vets and whatnot, but it just seems like they kind of, you know, Wiseman maybe he kind of clogs up the lane, and that's where Kuminga wants to go, right? So these are some things that need to be ironed out, I think, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because in these summer league games, you see them start together, and there's of course that first play in the first game where, you know, Kuminga is more on ball, creating and whatnot, and throws the lob. In this game, after they started, like their minutes were staggered a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All three of them, but then you saw Kuminga and Moody play together quite a bit. I mean, Moody and Wiseman played a little bit too, but basically Kuminga and Wiseman for probably those reasons to see like what they could do without the other person out there. And it'll be different when Wiseman plays with, maybe for lack of a better term, some of the vets who aren't there to prove anything. And, you know, who knows? Maybe there's a little bit of competition between those guys eventually, right? Maybe competition between Moody and Kuminga because they're so close in overlapping for minutes, right? They're fighting for the same minutes pretty much. But I think Wiseman, like when he's out there and he has his spots and he has the vets a little bit with him and they're looking for him, and they know that they want this toy, this weapon. They want to make it work. So they're going to try that out during the regular season. To answer the quick question, for me, most impactful in 3 years, was it? You said? I mean, I'll say Kuminga again, because last year I said in 4 years he'd be their best player. So I'm right on target still.
Still on track. I mean, hey, everything that we saw this last year, and and in the summer league, it's like it's still promising. Like, oh my gosh, he has so much. He has so much promise.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
and it's good for him to try this stuff out. You see some of the habits, like
spin move habits.
but the spin move worked so great for him. But now people are looking for it, right? Like they know
Yeah.
that's his move, especially when it's summer league and he's one of the best players on the court. It's like he does this, stop that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, like off the bounce trying to shake somebody, he needs to work on that, right? Some of his best plays last season were when he didn't have the ball, when he was cutting to
Yeah.
the basket. There were a few where he dribbled and then dribbled past somebody, which he can do. But when it's like, I have the ball and someone's just guarding me straight up, his shake and bake off that, I think that still needs some work. He's not, hopefully gets a better handle and he doesn't have like that Jaylen Brown reputation
Yeah. Yeah.
of like having a bad handle. So I definitely think Kuminga will. I mean, I I can't imagine if he keeps working with the coaches and working on his game, how good he'll be in 3 years. In 3 years from today, he'll still just be 22.
Yeah.
He's
It's
still
wild.
younger than Jordan Poole is today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really imperative for them. I mean, I don't know what Bob has in store, but it's really imperative that they get some really solid veterans. You see the effect that even Andre didn't play that much last year, but he's coaching from the bench. Hopefully, he comes back. They can get a couple other dudes who can just like solidify things a little bit. DiVincenzo has been in the league for however many years, but still pretty young player. So
25.
um, yeah, like they don't have a lot of bench vets, and ideally, in my mind, that these young guys are you're part of your top 8 or 9, but you get a couple of 9 or 10, you know they slot into that 9 or 10 slot, some veterans who can really come in and just stabilize things, get Wiseman the ball in a good area, that kind of stuff, and just help them get through the season, right? Like we're talking about like trying to get good enough playoff position. These young people are going to help really get us through the 82 game grind.
Yes.
um and that's also going to keep us interested in the 82 game grind. But I think you really saw, like, I mean, Myers just made such great pickups last year. um I know sometimes I was like, cut Bielitsa and get somebody else, but you know what, in the end he redeemed himself. He had some good minutes, the Tatum stopper. um
Hmm.
so like Otto Porter, Bielitsa, all those guys were really key, and I don't know who's out there. I've looked at the list; it doesn't look too good, but hopefully, like you said, there's some buyout candidates. I don't know. That's what Bob's there for, right? So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, it sucks to lose Otto Porter Jr., Bielitsa, Gary Payton II, um, to different degrees, of course. But it's one of those things. They picked up those guys when no one wanted them last year, pretty much, right? Because they all signed for the
mm-hmm,
minimum, and Peyton
mm-hmm,
was end of training camp. So who knows if anyone will be out there? I agree. I also want a little bit more of a veteran presence, right? If it's DeMarcus Cousins by some random chance, then I'll take him because hey, this team can also use a little bit more just attitude,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
uh, beyond Draymond, I know there's other guys that'll talk. Like Poole will talk, Klay will kind of talk a little bit, but they don't have that
muscles.
guy. Exactly. So I totally,
skinny, skinny Pool.
but it's funny, right? Because also, man, like Bielitsa, I mean, I guess he wasn't really injured all those years. He just didn't play for, was it Sacramento or something?
Mm-hmm,
He was
mm-hmm.
just benched. And then he didn't play much for the Heat. Maybe he was injured there. But this time last season, free agency, it was like he's injury prone and Otto Porter Jr. was injury prone. And they made it through. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's like a huge deal. So, maybe there's somebody else out there. I mean, that's what Vincenzo is, right? Like some guy who's been hurt, who's trying to
yeah.
kind of make good, but isn't at the bottom, so they couldn't probably get him they didn't get him for the minimum. But I'm going to wait till everything kind of shakes out. I've spoken about the Gary Payton stuff. I love Gary Payton, but you move on, and they got a bunch of young guys. Hopefully, not too many young guys right now.
It's a lot of young dudes.
Because all of a sudden they have
a lot of young dudes.
Even though Guy Santos, I don't think he'll make it to the big league club, but Rollins and Baldwin, and then add them on to the three other lottery pick guys, then it's like, wow, this is really getting like bottom heavy. But that's the thing, like just finding like a vet or two in there to kind of shore things up. But again, it's the same thing as this past season, right? Like, take the long view. If whatever roster they end up with, it's like, stay healthy by the end of the season, get these young guys ready, get them some run, whichever ones you deem worthy, and go from there. See who's on the buyout market, whatever. We'll see when the dust settles.
It's going to be a long summer. It's kind of nice to have had this break again, low stakes basketball, and we can kind of just muse on the roster and how it's going to turn out, and then we'll see how things get going in late September, October. But it's kind of a weird, like kind of a fallow time for sports, and baseball, if you're a Bay Area fan, is not going so well right now. So yeah, thank goodness for summer league, but then other kind of like content comes out. I don't know. Are you a wine drinker? Do you like a nice rosé, especially in the summertime?
I do. I am. Got to say that my girlfriend Paula, she got me onto wine many years ago, and I can kind of tell what's a good wine if doesn't taste like vinegar.
Yeah, if it tastes good, then it's good, right?
I'm no connoisseur, but I like wine, and she has me drinking rosé. So yeah, I'm a rosé, especially in the summertime.
Yeah. So I enjoy a nice rosé in the summertime as well. Oakland Warriors taking a really bougie turn here, but I didn't.
You just gentrified my podcast, man.
I don't know if you saw that today, but I think it was Michael Thompson, Klay's dad, tweeted out about that Klay and Nolan Arenado they released Nolan Arenado, third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals, played for the Rockies a long time. I didn't even know they were friends, but I guess it makes sense.
I don't even know who he is.
Roll together, but they released a rosé from their winery today, and it's called Diamond and Key. So and apparently it's sold out already. So but it's kind of a cool story. Like after those kind of like major fires in the Sonoma Napa Valley, and they were both part of some efforts of raising money and trying to get people up there back and working. And so they met a former athlete who became a I don't know what, a winemaker, wine person. I forgot what the term is, and so they've been working on that for the last few years.
Yeah, too bad it sold out. If it ever ends up at the corner liquor store, I'm all over it. But the name
coming to a Costco near you soon enough.
Diamond and Key. That's a very very rosé-ish name. So I'm gonna keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, keep an eye out. Let me know if you find that in California. So,
and I will do as you suggested, a react video. Like, I don't know, me drinking the whole bottle for like half hour. I don't know.
That's the content people come here for. At least in the off season. You never know.
Cool, man. No, I will keep an eye out, and hopefully all you listeners keep an eye out for that too, because we love Klay Thompson and we support his businesses.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
That was great. Thanks.
All right. Well, that is another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Patrick Epino. You can find Aram at Aram Collier, AramCollier. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Oakland Warriors. Check us out at OaklandWarriors.com, and be sure to peep the YouTube channel, which we're on right now. YouTube.com/Oakland Warriors. The Oakland Warriors podcast is produced by National Film Society and is a part of the Basketball Podcast Network. Be sure to tell your fellow Warrior fan friends to subscribe. And if you are so willing, please do leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts. Leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. That would be hugely helpful, always helpful. Thanks so much for tuning in. That's it. Music in this episode provided by Paper Sun. Special thanks to Paul Amardo for production support. See you next time.